Hey guys, welcome to Unit 1.1. Today we're going to talk about how do we write function notation and how do I perform operations on functions. So really quick review, let's talk about parts of a function. Given f of x equals 3x minus 4. So how do I separate, how do I dissect this? So f of x, as you can see, fill in your blanks please, is a set of outputs. X is the set of all inputs, so whatever I plug into X, I'm going to get an output, which is f of x. 3x minus 4 is a function that relates to the set of output to the inputs. So, f of x is a set of outputs, x is my input or my x value, and then 3x minus 4 is like the operation that I'm going to do. This is the function. So remember, when you name a function, it's always f or whatever is given, and x tells what numbers you need to plug in. So I input x into some function f, and the output becomes f of x. We're going to see how this works. So remember, there are 5 ways that we can represent a function. Who remembers? Equation, table, graph, mapping diagram, and an ordered pair. We're going to represent a function using all 5. So my first one is f of x equals x plus 4. This is my equation. How do I represent this in forms of a table? So I'm going to start with some x value. I'm going to start with -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. What's f of x? All this is saying when I plug in -2 into this equation, what am I getting? So f, just like we talked about evaluating, -2 is equal to -2 plus 4. This will give me 2. If I was to plug in -1, this will be 3. If I was to plug in 0, this should be 4, 5, and this is 6. So that's me representing this function in a table. What about if I want to represent it in a graph? So in a graph, I will plot some points. So I know when f is -2, it's 2. -1 is 3. 0 is 4. So it will have something that looks, let's just get some color here, like this. Perfect. And remember, one thing that I forgot to put on this graph when we're doing is a arrow at both ends, meaning it goes on. So remember, f of x, x plus 4, that's a linear equation, so I'll get a straight line. So this is one way of an equation, table, and graph. So we have 2 more ways to go. I have ordered pair and mapping. Ordered pairs, remember this is my x, my y, my x, my y, my x, my y. Same thing, I'm taking from here and I'm just making it into ordered pair. Mapping means 2 goes to 6, 1 goes to 5, 0 goes to 4, -1 goes to 3, and I can continue with -2. If I just wanted to add another one, it will be -2 goes to +2. So that's the 5 ways. So I have my equation, I have my table representing that equation, I have a graph, I have my ordered pair, and my mapping. So I want you to pause the video, you try. Now I have this equation, g of x equals 2x minus 4. I gave you the equation. I need you to find the table, the graph, ordered pair, and mapping. Pause the video and go. Now that's what you should have, something that looks very similar to this. You have your table, your graph, your mapping, ordered pair. Did you get everything correct? Great. Now, let's talk about adding functions. So I'm giving you f of x is equal to 3x minus 4, and g of x is x squared minus 4x plus 7. And I'm asking you, when I combine these, find f plus g of x. So you have to be able, guys, to be able to read these. Function notation, you have to be able, to read this. So this is here. This becomes, reading it, I'm just going to write it f of x. This one here, we have g of x. And then I want to find this, I'll say what's f plus g of x. So I want you to be able to. So when I am trying to add these, what I'm going to do is just add the function together. So I'm going to take f and g and I'm going to combine them. When I combine them, I will get something that looks like this. So notice I color coded so that you can see f is 3x minus 4, so that's in blue. And then g, I'm adding it, which is in orange. So when I combine these, my next step is to combine like terms. So x squared is by itself. Notice now I have 3x and minus 4x. It doesn't matter if I had plus 3x minus 4x. Remember, it's the same thing. So then my other like terms are the 7 and the 4. When I combine like terms, I'm left with x squared minus x plus 3. And this is my final answer. Whoops. Actually, let's highlight it because it's going to make it a lot easier to see. This is my final answer. So when you're adding, you have to be able to combine your like terms, okay? Now, let's get into multiplying. Same principle. F of x is equal to 2x plus 5. G of x is equal to x squared minus 2x plus 1. And I want to find f of g of x. This is, remember, no operation means multiply. So what I'm going to do is when you multiply these together, and again I color coded, f of g. So f is 2x plus 5, and then g of x is x squared minus 2x. So I'm going to use the distributive property. Take 2 over to x squared. Take 2 over to minus 2. Take 2 over to 2x, over to 1. After I do this, I'm going to do the same thing with 5. 5 goes to x squared. 5 goes to negative 2x. 5 goes to 1. Notice I put it in their same color coded. So when I do that, my next step is to just multiply. So 2x times x squared is x to the third. 2x times negative 2x, that becomes negative 4x squared plus 2x. Here now it becomes 5x squared minus 10x. Remember, 5 times negative 2x is negative 10x. 5 times 1 is 5. Once I'm up to this step right here, the next step that I need to do is combining like terms. So I see there's only one x cubed. So that's by itself. I see there's minus 4x squared and then there's a plus 5x. So those are my like terms. Then I have 2x minus 10x, which is another set of like terms, and then 5 is by itself. Combining all of that, I'm going to be left with 2x cubed plus x squared minus 8x plus 5. Remember, when you're combining like terms, I can only combine terms that has the same number of variables. So I could not have combined x to the third with anything because that has 3 x's and everything. There's no other term that has 3 x's. So you try. Pause the video. See how much we understood this. I'm giving g of x. I'm sorry, yeah, f of x is equal to 4x and g of x is 4x minus 5. I want you to try adding and then try multiplying. Perfect. You should get something that looks like this. Remember, adding it, I'm going to take my f of x, which is 4x, and my g is 4x minus 5. Combine like terms. Bam, 8x minus 5. Multiplying, now this one's a little simpler because I only have one term. Take my 4 and distribute it. And you're left 4 times 4 is 16. X times x is x squared. You got to be very careful. X squared. 4x minus 4x times negative 5 will give you minus 20x. And that's my final answer. So, this is what we're going to do for the rest of the period before I start checking in with you. Complete portfolio assignment 1.2. Hold them on into your UM2 kit. Check in with me in the back if you need additional help, alright? Also, don't forget that homework number 3 is due today. Hand that in, hand that in, hand that in. Alrighty, guys.